I made an amateur mistake. Good morning, I'm Bill, this is SixRounds Studio, and I wanted to do a quick update from my last video. In the last video, we milled down these side panels, and I just wanted to show you that I've got both sides of these done. And they came out really well. So I also mentioned that I was going to have to use some acetone to pull out all the oil staining. And let's see if I can get this up close enough for you to see. So I've got oil streaks everywhere on this, and on this side especially, the oil streaks are really obvious. So I'm going to spend the next several days just trying to get that oil wicked out of those wood pores before I can glue the applique of the new panel on. The other thing I wanted to share with you was I made an amateur mistake. As a restorer, I should have caught this, and I didn't. And I want to talk about that. I want to first off admit my mistake, but the second thing I want to do is show you what that mistake was and tell you it's going to turn out to be a happy mistake, that it's going to work to my favor and to my benefit. I was using this 1925 Ithaca for my model for my panels, which is fine. That helps me to understand that relationship to the panels, to the pointy part of the panel, to the rest of the gun stock. So that's going to be good. The mistake that I made was I didn't take measurements. I mentioned that briefly in yesterday's video, but I didn't actually go in and do the measurements, and I should have, because this is a box lock. This is a hammer gun. Because of that, the design of the receiver is not the same. I mean, it is the same. So this dimensionally is the same receiver. It's the same width. It's the same height. All the curves are basically where they are in the newer gun. What's different is that dimension from the bottom of the receiver to this top light line. I talk about shadow lines or design lines a lot in my videos. That shadow line or design line from here to here is very tiny. Whereas on the newer gun, because they don't have the recesses for the hammer, those shadow lines are much wider. So it comes much to the top. It's a much flatter receiver where the locking mechanism is, as opposed to this, where that locking mechanism actually defines the top of the receiver. All right. Whereas with this gun, it is not defining the top of the receiver. In fact, it is sort of just inlet into this broader, wider piece. Now, why is that important? Well, when I made this pattern yesterday, and I overlaid it, it was patterned to this 1925 Ithaca. So that dimension is roughly 1 inch 720. The dimension on the old hammer gun is considerably less. It's 1 inch 250, so it's a half an inch narrower by design than the newer 1925. Anyway, when I put this receiver onto the stock, and I was looking at it, and I'm going, holy crap, this is going to work out really well, because my shadow line or my light line or my design line comes here. So I'm going to be able to build these panels in a much smaller dimension because they are smaller. And by virtue of them being smaller, they're going to fit into this cutout that I did. I'm going to be able to now shape that following this line here right into the new design, or right into the new applique, with those shadow lines intact. And it's the same on both sides. So my shadow line is here and here, and I'm going to be able to draw those out, or file those out, or shape those out in the amount of room that I've got. This is a happy mistake, guys. This is going to turn out really, really well. So that's going to be our next video next week when we get back to doing this. I'm going to continue to work on it, but as I mentioned, I'm going to be days trying to get all of this oil out of this wood so that I can glue it up. I am going to prep I'm going to find I've got a stash of American walnut that I'm going to go through and try to find. This is an older piece. This grain on this is extremely tight, which is what you look for. And this older walnut, the grains, the tightness of the growth rings tend to be much closer, as opposed to a lot of our modern or newer walnut, which is grown much quicker, and so the spacing on the growth rings tend to be a little bit further apart. Anyway, this is I got to find a piece of walnut in my stash where those growth rings are fairly close together, so that when we do the finishing, it's going to look essentially like this one here, because we want to blend this out. Alright guys, so that was a quick update. Just wanted to share that with you. Give it a thumbs up if you liked the video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Ring that bell so you get notified the next time I post a video. You know YouTube, it is a strange, strange algorithm. I'll see you in the next video.